Welcome to Raising Extreme Athletes Uncensored. This is your reality check and home for uncensored, trusted advice and stories from the trailblazers who came before us. Because it takes a strategic village to raise an extreme pro athlete, this is your village. Are you guys ready to change your vernacular? What does that even mean? Vernacular, rephrasing, changing the way you say things, because that's everything. It's everything. When they say it's 80 to 90% mindset, what do you think mindset is? Mindset is the vernacular that's going on in our heads. But it first starts out loud in the house. So it's about time we change all of that. I'm Marina, your host, mother of 2 aspiring rock climbers and a wife to an extreme athlete. Okay, so what does it mean to change your vernacular? When you hear a lot of parents who have devoted themselves to their kids' sports or whatever, right? They use words like, I sacrificed, right? So when you use that word sacrifice, or we compromise so much, compromise is a little bit of a softer word, right? But when you use words like sacrifice, all of a sudden it becomes this burden on the kid. So there's many things that make it bad, right? First of all, it sounds like it's a struggle. It sounds like you're struggling, the burden of it. Oh my God, the sacrifice you made for your child. But in reality, it's you decided to do it. So it's not a sacrifice. It's actually an opportunity, right? First of all, an opportunity to do something with your child. It is life-changing. It is life-forming, right? It's definitely not a struggle, because if it was that much of a struggle, why are you doing it? Why are you putting that stress, that pressure on your kid's shoulders, right? It makes it sound like you don't want to do it. And when your kid hears it like that, and you're not going to only say it that one time, you're probably going to continue that kind of, because that's where your mind is going. It's a sacrifice. So it becomes this burden. It becomes this extra pressure on your kids' shoulders. Not many kids could deal with pressure, but dealing with the pressure of their parents and the burden that their parents are putting on their shoulders, man, that makes it a really hard one, right? So if they don't complete, and if they don't hit their milestones that you're putting on for them because of the sacrifice that you're doing, at the end, all that sacrifice and all this burden and all this other stuff, it's actually going to backfire at you. Well, how does it backfire? First of all, the kid might actually start hating the sport. It's just too much pressure dealing with the parents' emotional baggage on the kid's shoulder, because that's what it is. It becomes an emotional baggage. Your sacrifice, your compromise, your struggle becomes their emotional baggage, their struggle, right? Do you really want that on their shoulders on top of the competitiveness and the pressure of the sport? Okay, that's one way to backfire. Another way, they will just stop the sport. They won't even want to be part of it. It's too much work for them. But the worst part, the worst thing that could happen with a backfire is they actually could stop having a relationship with you. Yeah, I know it sounds so far-fetched, but it's not. Your struggle, your sacrifice can only be handled so much. So you need to change that vernacular. How about, hey, let's give it a shot. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. I'll give you whatever I can. If I can't get to it somehow, let's see if we can figure it out. All of a sudden, it makes it more of an adventure, a challenge to do together, rather than this burden that the kid has to deal with because you're doing it, right? Have you ever seen that movie, Tanya or Tonya? It's about the woman who slashed Kerrigan's ankle for the Olympics, the ice skating. That is the perfect example of the parent putting that burden, that sacrifice on top of Tonya was the athlete, and her mother was just suffocating her with the burden and the sacrifice that she put on her child. This is not where you want to go, right? You do not want to have that kind of happen, right? Because it can really backfire at you. So it's about time you change that vernacular. You rephrase. Or if you can't, and if it is that much of a sacrifice, then don't do it. Don't do it, because that will literally, it won't work out either way. So you might as well try and salvage the relationship before it goes really bad. So this is just my 2 cents, but I really believe strongly in this. If you guys have other opinions, I'm actually really open to hearing them and to understanding, right? Because it's all about that vernacular. I really want to hear what you have to say. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review, share it with your friends, and let's start that conversation.